Well, you know, man, the Aria is based after two of Keeley's most sought-after pedals. Of course, the compressor line's been around for a long time, but the Compressor Plus has made me really smile, man. It's awesome. And then, of course, I've probably had 3 or 4 of the Red Dirts throughout the years, and it's just one of the best overdrives ever, man. And so to combine both of those bad boys, the Compressor Plus and the Red Dirt in one pedal is just, it's phenomenal. Now, most people would say, well, you know, with a bigger pedal board, do you prefer to use the Aria or the single pedals? Well, on the bigger board, I like to space them out a little bit because I usually leave my compressor on all the time. Therefore, I don't have to touch it, so I put it on the top row of my board. But for my little travel board, man, a little pedal train mini, this is the ideal fit because it's 2 pedals in one and it doesn't take up as much room. So this pedal is absolutely incredible, plus the fact that you can actually switch which pedal goes first, whether you want the compressor first or the Red Dirt. So, you know, by this little guy right here, this little switch. It's pretty incredible, man. So I've just found that this pedal is just, you know, here again, it's just one of those Keeley pedals that makes me smile, man, and I'm really glad that this pedal's on the market. Really am. Well, we'll talk about everything, man. Let's talk about it all. Why not? We're here and we're having fun.
And what else? And what else can we say about the Aria?
Oh, man.
What about the tone control on the compressor side?
Well, absolutely, man. It's brilliant.
I designed it to be a treble recovery because, you know, treble gets lost in compression, or it seems like it gets lost, right?
Yeah.
So I said we need to have something that's really slick that doesn't start to add noise, right? Because a tone control can add noise.
Oh, of course, yeah.
And so what we did is we took a look at the analog bucket brigade circuits for delays and stuff.
Wow.
And they had a treble recovery circuit in there. So we essentially put it on a tone control and give you that flexibility. That's something kind of cool about the compressor.
You know,
Plus.
guys, I have to say right off the bat, to sit here with Mr. Rob, by the way, I'm Johnny Hiland, Nashville guitar, sitting here with the man himself, Mr. Robert Keeley. We're streaming live, I believe, or we're fixing to be. But I have to tell you, man, it's such an honor to be able to sit in the same room with you and just talk effects.
Talk pedals, talk tone.
Man, pedals are like ear candy.
Yes, they are.
And to a blind guy, man, that's just exceptional. It's a beautiful thing. And most people say, how do you set your effects, Johnny? I'm like, I just reach down and turn knobs until it sounds good. And I have to say, Robert, your pedals, man, are the most fun because no matter where you set the knobs, it sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to be tweak. You have to tweak a little more. You have to be a tweaker, man. And
yeah, you have to be a tweaker.
Yeah,
you have to, I think it's because we're pretty critical at Keeley Electronics. We don't have a bluffing mechanism.
You guys are mad scientists down there, man.
We don't have a bluffing mechanism for when it counts. And
no, man,
that's when it counts. I try not to make any mistakes there and get everyone's ear involved.
Well, Robert, I got to say, man, when I first met you, I was so blown away, but I had to be honest with you about the old 2-knob and 4-knob compressor. Mm-hmm. Everybody in Nashville tried to turn me on to them.
Right.
And I was like, man, I need a blend knob, man. Yeah. And so when I met you at the Dallas Guitar Show, you were like, oh, well, it's right here.
Yeah.
And then you brought the Compressor Plus over, and you changed the color,
yeah.
which is, and of course, the blend knob is the white one for the blind guy.
That's right.
Right? On the Compressor Plus, but then you put it in the Aria.
and then, it's a black knob over here.
Well, but the fact is, it's you know, my favorite overdrive and the Compressor Plus in one pedal.
Yeah.
So the Aria is like a dream come true in the fact that it's in a smaller package than trying to squeeze 2 pedals on a board, right. Especially like this little pedal train mini I got down here, you know. The Aria fits on there so beautifully, and
I think another
reason
it kind of works so well is that these 2 effects are designed to sit side by side.
Yes.
Even under the strange circumstance where you might want the drive first, then compressor.
Sure.
They're still right next to each other.
Well, and seeing on my bigger board, I have the Compressor Plus up top because I leave it on all the time. Mm-hmm. Then the Red Dirt's first in line, you know, for everything else. So you're right, they do sit next to one another. Yeah. It's just on my bigger board I was able to space them out.
Yeah, because you're not turning on and off the
right. But when I use the smaller board, you're right. I can actually, you know, I've actually set this in the studio where I've actually used the Red Dirt, then the compressor, then the Phat Mod, Super Phat Mod. So. Yeah. An incredible sound. It does change the whole nuance of tone. Yeah. And so it's phenomenal, man, that you can actually change those. Now, I got to admit, man, I was kind of a dummy at first because I didn't know what the switch said. I didn't know what it was for. But I could hear the tonal difference. I just didn't know how it worked, you know.
And it takes a little bit. So then you found out that you can get a lot of dynamics with your volume control.
It's unbelievable. I mean, I can actually just play, you know, like if I was playing a, you know, like a... and I wanted to play some rhythm. It doesn't sound like I've shut the compressor off, for one thing. So you don't really lose any tone or any, you know, like a... you know, the texture of the tone you're going for. You don't lose any of that as you roll the volume down. And the way I've designed my pickups in my Johnny model Kiesel, I roll the volume down to like 8 anyway.
Yeah.
I don't use a volume pedal, so I just kind of roll up on my volume knob as I play.
It's kind of a cool interaction because the compressor is fighting kind of what you're doing, right? As you roll
Sure.
this down, you give it less signal, then the compressor works more in a different way to increase the volume. So
It does.
You are rolling something back,
Yes.
and the compressor's doing something else different.
But you feel it.
Yeah.
It's a feel thing,
Definitely.
and that feel thing is just incredible. But the thing that impressed me the most, man, is when you kick on the Red Dirt side, and you're really jamming out. Now, if I want to bring the volume back now, it cleans up so nicely.
Right. But the character hasn't changed.
No.
The character stays
And the beautiful
consistent.
thing is there's a lot of times in my show, man, where I love doing that. I could be kicking up in high gear. And then I'll just instantly turn the volume down and go into a... So if I switch into something like that, the fact that I can just turn the volume down on the guitar and not lose any of the the growl and the you know, the presence that the Red Dirt gives you, it's brilliant, man. I love that.
What happens is as you roll your volume control down, the compressor's working harder, trying to sustain more.
Yes.
And it is pretty cool. So you roll back, and you actually, in a way, you're getting maybe a little.
But
bit more
Robert,
compression.
you know, man, we chicken pickers, man. We rely on compressors. We really do.
Yeah.
You know, we play a style of guitar where, you know, as a chicken picker, I rely on the compressor because we have no distortion or anything to hide behind. But yet with the Aria, you can kick on the dirt, and I've found that I like to set even the Red Dirt side on my live gig to where it just sounds like a little bit of hair on top of my clean tone.
Right.
And then use like the super Phat Mod for my, you know, for a bigger gain. But here again, the beauty is you can do that all within 2 pedals, you know. So how much fun is that, guys? You know, it's just incredible. But now, to be honest with you, man, I've been really having a lot of fun with this Memphis Sun pedal too.
Oh, the Memphis Sun is incredible.
Oh my gracious, man. You know, I did a Facebook Live video a few weeks ago where I told people all you need is 3 pedals by Keeley Electronics to get the ultimate Danny Gatton tone. And man, I'll tell you what, I don't know how I actually captured it that day, but when it played back, when I heard the video back, I was like, oh my gosh, that's the Funky Mama tone, you know, off 88 Elmira,
Right.
you know. And I was like, oh my gosh, man, how did I do that? So I went back downstairs, tried to recapture it, and was like, oh my gosh, I got to sit here and figure out.
It's a Keeley pedal.
Yeah,
It's
and
got
so,
knob switches.
but the more you turn a knob this much on a Keeley pedal, and everything changes. No, I'm teasing, but everything is so appealing to the ear, man. It's so, you know, your pedals, man, are just so fun to use because they have so many wonderful sounds all in one unit, man. It's just it's mind blowing for a blind guy because my ears sonically, you know. Some people say if you have a loss in one, you know, sense that you gain something in another. Well, dude, my ears are just crazy sensitive. And I can tell you, man, noise through a pedal drives me crazy. Certain harmonics in dirt pedals drive me crazy, but I think that's why I've had 3 or 4 Red Dirts in my lifetime because I keep going back to it.
Right.
Then I let a student borrow it, and I never get it back, you know, and then I got to go out and get another
got the
one.
lending library system.
I'm telling you, well, I did have at that time, but now that's stopped, man.
So if I see all these non-serial numbered
No, you
Arias
won't.
out in the world,
You
that's
won't because
students came by.
But you know, Robert, it's funny though, bud, because once I built this board up with the Omni Reverb is incredible, by the way. But once I built this board up with the Compressor Plus, the Red Dirt, and then the other stuff I get on there, you know, my go-tos. It was like, man, I felt so right at home. When I went to the gig, there was no transition whatsoever, except the tone was better. And so therefore I played better.
Yeah,
The audience loved it more.
Yeah.
I had more fun. And when I got off the stage, I was like, I know it's like, midnight, but I really want to call Robert Keeley and be like, I love you, man, So, and then of course I had to build my little fly rig, up like this as well with Keeley. So I tell you, man, you've really,
That's awesome.
You've really worked wonders in my tone, man. And
when it is fun to play, it makes it easier to play.
It does.
Then you can
It
forget
does.
about it. You can stop thinking about the little box at your foot.
Yeah, and you're going, I ain't got, when you
Right.
when you have that moment where you're on stage and you're not quite getting the tone that you're reaching for, and you're trying to pull a note out. I mean, Brother Daniel Donato's in the house, and I know he feels the same way. When you're reaching for that note, man, and it's just not giving it to you, you're just digging as hard as you can.
I think he always nails it. I was listening to 8 versions of Folsom
sure.
this morning, and I was
Yep.
like, dang.
That boy's incredible, man, and I was blessed to get a chance to teach that boy when he was really young. And
That's so
but
awesome.
now I get to see what he's doing in his career, and I'm so blessed to have him as a friend and a brother, and just a great kid, man. Of course, now I feel like the old man. All these boys that I was teaching are growing up now, and sure I feel like the old man, but it's all good, man. It's all good. But Robert, I tell you, bud,
you got some gray hair like
I'm telling you, brother, it's coming. It's coming slowly but surely.
With all that wisdom, though, is the appreciation of good tone, huh?
Well, then you have to do the Confucius say, man with great tone uses Keeley electronics. But Robert, this has just been so wonderful,
fun.
brother. I'd love to be able to sit with you and rack your brain on how you guys designed this Memphis
I
Sun.
will. I'll tell you all about
Oh man, dude, I could sit for hours and talk to you about that.
It is kind of fun. It's a point where we changed how we think about digital products, and it was a matter of using ears, honestly, because I could start
it's
to
incredible.
hear how this processor was working. I didn't like some of the artifacts, and so we literally took some of the filtering that we used in the Red Dirt
Yes.
and applied it to that reverb
Wow.
and to that delay sound. And so that's kind of how we did it. I call it kind of like a Red Dirt filter times 2.
It's incredible too, because the Aria has its own. It's like one of those pedals you can instantly get. When you order one, you get it in the mail or you buy it from the local store. You get it home, pop it on the board, turn it on, and run with it because the tones are just there. The Memphis Sun, though, on the other hand, man, you got to sit down and do a little tweaking and little finite tweaks and find that perfect tone. And so, but that's the beauty, man, of creating tone.
There's a lot of variation in that.
Yeah, well,
Plus
I
it can
mean,
get all wet.
there's a lot of variation in the Aria as well, but then again, it's it does those two distinct sounds, and then of course you can swap them back and forth. But the Memphis Sun is a little bit more, involved, I guess is a good word to use.
Definitely, it has a lot of features.
Yeah, it does, man. But it's so incredible.
Slapback.
Now, I'll actually say this, man. I've been such a Gatton fan all my life.
Right.
Scotty Moore, all the old Elvis stuff, Carl Perkins. Did not realize that there was like a doubler in that sound.
Yeah,
in that old
he
sound.
does those double stops, but then they're kind of have a very fast slapback, which kind of creates a chorusy thing.
Oh man, and it's just incredible, man. How I didn't realize, and it was funny because I've gone after the Danny tone for years. When I plugged in the Memphis Sun and I heard this kind of doubling effect happening, it was like that's the missing link.
Yeah.
And then I'm glad I don't have much hair, man, because I was just like, yes! I mean, I was so happy. I was jumping around my studio like a madman. But that's why I say, man, you guys are mad scientists, because these pedals are so intricate and so well designed and just so pleasing to the ear no matter where you set them, man. It's just, it's unreal. It's an unreal experience.
That's awesome. On the Aria, do you set it for the high gain or the low gain on the drive side?
On my live gigs, man, I set it for the low gain. And, it's funny. I've been really having a lot of fun with the Super Phat Mod. But getting back to the Aria, I find that I call it a country crunch, if you will, where you get just that slight tube breakup. I've been using it for that, and it just seems to really work, man, and having it right next to the compressor. And I set it to where the compressor's first, then the Red Dirt.
Yep.
And it just gives me, now I run a 100-watt amp live with a massively clean platform, specifically for pedals. And so even my reverb is run off the Omni, man. So, I mean, I run everything through pedals, even my Dirt. So, to be honest with you, man, to get that tube breakup sound, the Red Dirt at a very low, on the low side, set at a very low gain, it just works, man. It's just beautiful. It really sounds great.
That was kind of our White Sands pedal.
You know, I was going to ask you about that. I just saw a video on that.
Yeah, that's the circuit that's on that side then.
Wow.
And I think it was kind of like a shop favorite. The people that had studios and stuff, they would be like, take the white sounds out there. It sounds kind of the best.
Yeah, I might have to call Aaron on that one, buddy, because I saw the video and I was like, oh my gosh, there's that tube breakup sound, you know.
It's pretty good.
It's amazing,
so you
man.
got both of them. You got the high gain Red Dirt, and you got the cleaner, more transparent lower gain setting. That's great that it works with your 100 watts.
Oh, it's incredible. I mean, it sounds like I'm cranking up an old Vibrolux or something. It's truly incredible.
So when do you decide to use something like our Red Dirt, something that's softer and smoother, as opposed to something like the Phat Mod, which I think is kind of grittier?
It is, but then again, that grittiness. I've actually had fun mixing the Red Dirt and the Phat Mod, like where they're placed on the pedal board. So, and I just could not decide, so I decided to put it on the smaller board. But here again, it's the placement. So it was really unique and funny in a weird circumstance kind of way that I could put the Red Dirt before the compressor, then have the super Phat Mod. So
that is nice. That's what the purpose of the Aria is.
Well,
so
that's
you can do those little things.
Yeah, and that really was the fun in that, you know, when it was on my bigger board, it was like, okay, which first, the super Phat Mod or the Red Dirt? And then I'd reverse them and try that. But the beautiful thing is, all I had to do was flip a switch on the small board to see how if I separated them, how that would really work. So it's just been a joy, man, to find all these tones and have fun. Honestly, Robert, I'm 43 years old in this business, man. I don't mind telling my age, but I'll be honest with you, man, I have had so much fun experiencing the tonal qualities of your pedals, man, and what they do.
It's the next 5 years that are the best.
Oh, dude. I've been talking to Aaron about what do y'all make for an octave fuzz, and all these other wonderful things. And then he's like, well, if you like that, have you heard of this pedal? And so, man, you've got me. Man. Yeah, you guys have got me on the tonal search now. You know, of all these fun things that I've never tried. So it's just phenomenal, man. I love this opportunity and this experience. But more so than that, my friend, I really love the opportunity to gain you as a friend, because you're such an amazing man, and just love what you do. I mean, gosh, man, way back in the day, I had a Keeley modded blues driver. And then, of course, you know, I tried the new Wazacraft that Boss released. Then I tried the super Phat Mod and went, oh, my good gracious, man. Now, you know, so it's just incredible, man, what's going on.
Like we talked about in Dallas, I was standing in front of you going, man, I wish the guy would recognize me. Here I am, Robert Keeley, waiting to see
you know, buddy, and then you probably didn't even know that I was legally blind, you know. And why is the guy not even acknowledging that I'm here, you know?
Well, I'm standing right there.
Yeah, well, see, now that's why I said you need to come up and let a blind guy shake your hand and give you a hug, man. Yeah.
Isn't that awesome?
But I'm so blown away, man, with the opportunity to work with you, and just love everybody in the Keeley family, man. Aaron and
that's a great set of guys there.
Oh my God, Robbie, everybody's just so fantastic, man, and it's mind blowing, man. The fun I'm having. I actually enjoy sitting at home now in my studio and just tweaking knobs and hearing.
What's wrong with that?
Oh, dude, but it makes me feel like a little kid getting my first guitar again. You know, we're just now releasing the new Johnny Keeley or Kiesel. See, Keeley and Kiesel are pretty close, right?
Hey, maybe we got something going there.
Maybe you do. But we're just now releasing the Johnny Hiland model Kiesel guitar, and so I am like a little kid getting my first guitar all over again. But I'm really finding new tones that suit this guitar and the amp I'm running now, which is a Reeve Space Cowboy. And I just, here again, the Keeley experience is just mind-blowing, because I feel like that little kid again, you know, finding my tone.
Right.
And I always think everybody is in a constant search for tone, man. I think nobody stays with the same thing too long. You find a new amp or a guitar you like, or different pedals, and that's why I'm like, hey man, what about an octave fuzz or something fun, you know?
That's the business we're in, right?
Oh,
we
sure.
have to keep ourselves constantly in the game.
Well, it's that ear candy factor, brother. So, but yeah, man, I'm just so grateful for this opportunity, brother. And the Aria is just phenomenal. I mean, look how well it sits on this little board, man.
So I had a question for you.
Yeah.
The difference between using something like a smooth overdrive, like the Red Dirt, and then something that's more transparent, like the Phat Mod. Can you show us an example of where you might use the two, or how you might use the two?
You know, it's funny because with, you know, I think really it all depends on what style of blues I'm playing, to be honest. You know, like for the Red Dirt sound, it is where I could go to the neck pickup and So if I turn the delay down a little bit here. So if I'm doing so I can use the Red Dirt for that, but then I don't even know if my Super Phat Mod is set here, but we'll find out. Yeah. Yeah, crank that gain right up there, buddy. Let's have... Now, with like the Super Phat Mod set like that, I would actually go to my 4th position, which is really just the middle pickup by itself.
Oh, on this guitar.
And then do that. You know, I'd let the notes draw out a little more so you could feel that raspiness, you know, that like you said, that little extra hair that the Super Phat Mod has.
That's pretty cool.
So for like a slow blues, I would use the Super Phat Mod, and then for a up-tempo blues, I'd use the Red Dirt. So
that's awesome.
But then again, I mean, like I said, the Red Dirt works amazing with like a country crunch tone. So if I'm shaking, picking, and I want that little extra hair,
so now you've got the compressor on and
yes.
the Phat Mods. If you take this compressor off for just a second, then
right.
you get all the dynamics.
So you like that slow? Has that has that extra growl, man, you know?
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's like the interaction between two notes, how the Phat Mod responds to two notes.
Yes.
As opposed to this, it has no modulation. Yeah.
See, it's got a little extra in the mid-range.
Yes.
It's got a little extra mid-hump to it.
But the notes don't interact as gnarly as they do with the Phat Mod.
But, and the thing is, if you kick the compressor on with the Red Dirt, then for the... Here it has a tightness. It has like an extra... It's like a... It's an extra tightness. So if you... Yeah! But if you're playing a really tight blues thing, like an up-tempo blues
you don't
thing...
need all that.
It's amazing. And here's another thing that's funny, man. I'm going to do this because we're live. Why not, right? If I'm going to play, now look at this. I got a thumb pick stuck in my slide. How do you like that? See if there's any more up in there. But if I use a slide, the funny thing is, you know, on the Red Dirt side, it gives just that little extra. Now, if I go to the Super Phat Mod with the compressor on, you know, it gives more of that kind of old Memphis or Mississippi kind of Delta things. That's that old Delta thing, man, you know? Yeah.
That's pretty
And
killer.
so it's that extra hair that the Super Phat Mod gives. Now, granted, is this Red Dirt a bad tone for that? You know? No, it's not a bad tone.
It's a different era.
It's a different, right, right. Yeah, it doesn't have that, you know, it doesn't have that old, you know, that old growl to it, you know. So, but then again, it's so amazing when I was doing the, you know, the... So the Red Dirt has its place for that up-tempo blues. But then when I'm playing that old slow grinding slide blues, the Super Phat Mod's just the ticket.
There you go.
So yeah. So I hope I answered your question, you know.
Well, that's awesome, man. I sure appreciate you being here.
Oh, Robert, I
really
appreciate
do.
you, my friend. Thanks for having me,
Thank
man.
you, sir.
Such a pleasure. It really is. Love Keeley Electronics, folks. If you don't have the new Aria yet, you need to get one. It's bad to the bone diggity.